Caring for the elderly is important, especially at this time of year. We'll tell you more about that in this another festive edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Also today, bridging the digital divide through caps. No, not the kind you wear. We're talking about community access points set up to give internet access to Jamaicans all across the country. Stay with us. The news is next after this important message.
Avoid, alter, accept. 3 steps to help you quit smoking. 3 things to help you kick that cigarette butt. Avoid places, people and things that encourage smoking. Alter the way you do things.
If you normally drive a certain route, and when you drive a certain route, you're going to pass a bar. Drive a different route, you don't pass the bar.
Get rid of ashtrays and all smoking apparatus. Breathe in and out. Drink some water. Count to 300. Go for a walk and hang around non-smokers. And after all that, accept that you need help.
With support, you're going to find, oh, I really feel better with support. Because the person who's supporting you is going to say, you know, I'm proud of you.
Do it one day at a time. Join the fight and quit smoking for life.
Good day, I'm Samantha Allen and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 12. The white paper on flexible work arrangements will soon be available to stakeholders for review. Government is continuing to work on the Flexi-Week arrangements to help in the labor market reform process. In the meantime, Labor and Social Security Minister Derek Kelly is urging organizations to develop programs to boost the productivity in the workplace.
To encourage organizations to adopt effective work-life strategies that will enhance their employers' ability to manage work and family responsibilities, enable them to perform more productively.
Minister Kelly was speaking at the recent Labour Market Forum organized by the Planning Institute of Jamaica in collaboration with key stakeholders. The Caribbean Telecommunications Union, CTU, has taken steps to ensure unrestricted internet access for the region's nationals, including Jamaicans. The CTU has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers, ICANN, to facilitate the process. It guarantees collaboration between both entities and seeks to protect the sovereign rights of member states as well as the management of domain names. President of the CTU and Minister of Technology, Philip Paulwell, says the Internet has been largely unrestricted, but with warnings of possible restrictions and barriers in the future, the MOU is a step in the right direction.
Need for us to ensure that that doesn't happen, that the whole business of domain name management, name and numbers, that management be seen for its strategic importance to member states.
For its part, Minister Paulwell says Jamaica is moving to build a broad-based coalition of all stakeholders within the information technology sector. This group, he says, will ensure best practices are adopted to enable more effective utilization of the domain names and advance some of the country's strategic objectives. Meanwhile, the Science and Technology Minister is encouraging significant scientific research into medical marijuana, citing its potential to earn billions. Minister Paulwell says he has instructed the Scientific Research Council, the SRC, to lead efforts to galvanize stakeholders interested in the research and development of medical marijuana.
This plant is enormously versatile, and Jamaica could reap significant social and economic benefits. First, from the development of a ganja-based nutraceutical industry worth over $2.5 billion in the USA alone.
Minister Paulwell says government is very serious about science, technology and innovation and recognizes its potential to grow the economy out of the current situation. He was delivering the keynote address at the launch of the book Cannabis, Marijuana, Ganja, The Jamaican Global Connection by Professor Henry Lowe and Professor Errol Morrison. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips is reiterating that the new omnibus tax legislation will help propel economic growth. Dr. Phillips was speaking with various stakeholders at a recent forum to discuss the new tax incentive reform package at the Jamaica Conference Center. He said the omnibus legislation, which catered to all types of businesses, provided non-discretionary incentives and promoted tax compliance.
The fundamental shift in policy calls for a competitive regime of corporate taxation that provides broad incentives for investment and employment creation for all businesses operating. It is much better to have a system where the rules are clear and transparent, and all you need to do is to demonstrate that you qualify, which is a simple administrative decision.
Under the new tax regime, as at January 1, 2014, corporate income tax for all unregulated companies will stand at 25%. The 30% income tax for large unregulated companies will also be removed. As part of the tax reform process, the House of Representatives recently passed 4 pieces of legislation: the Fiscal Incentives Act, the Income Tax Relief Act, the Stamp Order Resolution, and the Customs and Tariffs Revision Order Resolution. And finally, Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Roger Clark says new arrangements are to be put in place at the Sugar Industry Authority and the Sugar Industry Research Institute to ensure a transparent pricing mechanism.
We want to bring a level of transparency in whatever happens so that farmers can be confident that the cane that they deliver, they're getting the price for it based on their juice quality, and there is no contamination as far as the figures go.
He says already stakeholders have signed off on the arrangements at a meeting on December 5. The Agriculture Minister was speaking recently at the unpacking of new bearings for the Money Musk Sugar Factory. Purchased at a cost of $30 million, they replace equipment stolen from the sugar estate earlier this year. Pan-Caribbean Sugar Company executives decided to buy the new bearings and have them installed to guarantee an early start of the 2014 sugar crop. This will safeguard the jobs of workers and avoid the high cost of farmers transporting their crop to distant mills. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Samantha Allen. Thanks for watching.
Hi, this is Tessan, and I want all you young people to listen to me very carefully. Crime doesn't pay. You can do so much with your life. Don't throw it away in some gang. Stay in school and work hard for what it is you want. It's up to you. Your future will be determined by the decisions you make. Remember, a gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
The Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining has been fulfilling its mandate to bring more Jamaicans into the information age so we can have a more knowledge-based society. The ministry has been setting up CAPs, community access points, more than 150 of them, to give people internet access among other things. Here's an update from Portfolio Minister Philip Paulwell.
In the last 20 years, we have seen firsthand how information and communications technology has transformed our lives. From cable TV to cellular communication to the internet. What we are finding today is that in both our private and professional lives, more and more of our existence is intertwined with digital technology. This struggle that we have been on, this desire to get competition with telecommunications and making sure that we have the regulatory and institutional framework in place, is not just to get us to talk. It's not just to get us to have cheap talk service. This effort is to enable Jamaica to become a part of a knowledge-based society, which is more than just talking or texting. When I speak of the digital divide, I refer to the gap in knowledge that exists between those individuals and communities that have and those that do not have access to the ICTs that are transforming our lives today. In Jamaica, the government has taken a leadership role in an effort to bridge that divide, and while we are not nearly where we should be in terms of internet penetration, we are daily making strides towards making affordable internet access available to all our people. This year we strengthen that body by amending the Telecommunications Act to provide for greater powers by the Universal Service Fund. The most important benefit of the amended legislation was that it allowed the focus of our policy to shift from universal access to voice to universal service, and to reorient the use of funds gained from the levy imposed on the telecommunications industry. Previously, we were very restricted in how those funds could be used, but with the change, we are now able to widen the remit of the Universal Service Fund to promote access in schools, libraries, post offices, and to give specific focus to the needs of underserved communities, such as the disabled. To date, we have used the funds to build 159 community access points across Jamaica. And I'm told by the end of this year, it will be 165. These community access points are spread out across the 14 parishes. You can go to any one of them, 159, and be able to get, at relatively inexpensive cost, access to pay your bills, to send emails, to enable you to be a part of the information society from your communities. The efforts of the Universal Service Fund have no doubt contributed to Jamaica, according to the survey from the International Telecommunications Union, being ranked 80 of 195 countries in the number of people that are using the internet. That ranking, I am confident, will rise as more of our people gain access to the internet, whether through the public cap sites or through private subscriptions to internet service. In addition to establishing these sites, we have also used the funds to further deployment of an island-wide broadband network through two of the country's major telecoms companies. To date, over 220 of our high schools, post offices, and libraries have been connected, and the Universal Service Fund is currently working to provide our hospitals, police stations, and other civic institutions with access to high-speed broadband internet. We have to do this because still for many Jamaicans, it is not affordable. And we are challenging the telcos to look at the cost of broadband to make it far more affordable. We believe in competition, and we have some good news coming in relation to that, because yes, it is all well and good for us to have cheap voice service, but it's not until we get cheaper internet access, access to broadband, that we can truly claim to enable our people to bridge this digital divide.
It is usually around this time of year that charity organizations and service groups ramp up their activities, with heavy focus on the indigent, children and the elderly. Whether you're part of a formal group or not, you can still play a role. Reach out to the elderly in your community.
According to Professor Denise Eldemaya-Shera, when our parents or grandparents are showing signs of aging, it's important that we give them the special care and attention they deserve.
Because they're part of our families and because they're part of our society,
and because of the contribution they have made in so many ways. And contribution in terms of family is critical, because many older people have helped to build their families. And also older people continue to contribute to development.
The aging process is a biological reality which has its own dynamics that are beyond human control. Age classification varies between countries and communities. Many times, the definition is linked to the retirement age. In some countries, it's lower for women than men. So who can we really refer to as elderly?
Older people are usually defined or described by their ability to function. So you will have well older people, you will have frail older people, and then you will also you'll have sick older people, but you will also, we also now start to think of older people as those 60 to 79, those are the young elderly. And then we have our old elderly, which are the over 80s.
When we're getting older, there is a change in our physical appearance. Old age can cause wrinkles and liver spots on the skin, change of hair color to gray or white, hair loss, decrease in hearing, diminished eyesight, slower reaction time and agility, reduced ability to think clearly, difficulty recalling memories, and greater susceptibility to bone diseases such as osteoporosis. The elderly have pretty much the same needs as younger people. Social, financial, medical, and psychological needs to be satisfied. However, when you ask older people, one of their major complaints is loneliness.
You're drawn into yourself when you are lonely, but when you have people around you, you talk and you joke and you feel happy.
If you don't have a family to resort to, you're most lonely.
When you're by yourself, you think a lot. And thinking a lot sends up the blood pressure. Get a stroke, everything that is bad happen to you at that point. You get scared of your own voice.
Some of them are really lonely, and that's why they need to be loved and to be cared for.
Caring covers many things. Caring starts with just love. Just the sense of love and belonging, and for older people to belong to families, to feel wanted, to feel loved. Then there's the care when you have actual needs. The care when you have financial needs, when some people will need additional income because they don't have a pension, because they have drugs to buy, because they have medications, etc.
Professor Eldemaya Shearer points to another group that needs greater care. People who have had strokes, persons who are demented, and those who are living with arthritis.
For these people, there is the need for some sort of care, mainly by families, but also by community personnel, church groups, where they need help with bathing, they need help with feeding, they literally need round-the-clock care.
To reduce the greater effects of aging, the government of Jamaica has put several systems in place to help the nation's senior citizens.
We're very fortunate in this country, unlike a lot of developing countries, because the facilities for older people have been built on by successive governments. There's a National Council for Senior Citizens. There is a national policy for senior citizens which directs various arms of government. Through the Ministry of Health, there is the Drugs for the Elderly program. There is also NHF, the National Health Fund, to which they can join. There's the NIS, which is a pension, but with NIS also comes the health card and the benefits.
But families must also contribute to the initiatives.
I'd first want to commend those who have been taking care of their elderly parents or relatives. I'm saying to those who are out there, those children, remember your parents. They did something for you. It's what they have done, the sacrifices they have made, why you have reached where you are. Please remember them.
There'll be a better tomorrow. There'll be a better tomorrow. There'll be a better better tomorrow. There'll be a better tomorrow. There'll be a day. There'll be a way. There'll come a time to sing a brand new song. There'll be a better tomorrow.
Christmas is here again, and there are so many things you may want to do this Christmas. For parents, you know how the children can be. They are anticipating gifts and making all kinds of demands. But how can you meet those expectations when money is tight? Well, you may want to consider this.
Why not engage the children? Talk to them about your financial situation. Let them know how much you have to spend and spell out the necessary things that you must buy. Let them help you design a budget and stick to it.
Talk to them about the possibility of postponing gift giving until a later date when you can afford it. Or choose to buy a gift the whole family will enjoy. Don't assume they won't understand. Talk to them. You will be surprised how understanding they can be.
The first Noel.
Merry Christmas, Jamaica.
May the peace of God be with you during this season, and best wishes for a Happy New Year from all of us at JIS.
Jamaica, have to protect the life where we live, so you know, say we have to think smart. Joe! Well, this is Chino, and we need to talk to the youth them. Be careful, your friend them. People who really care about you and check for you, not gonna put you in a situation where you can end up going to prison or end up losing your life. So you need to stay focused, stay in school, work hard, and don't follow no friend. And remember, a gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Treason, carnal abuse. All these judicial matters may require jurors, but in Jamaica, like elsewhere, many persons are fearful of serving as jurors. But in order to attain justice, citizens need to perform this critical civic duty. Many of us have found ourselves caught up in a gripping cinematic tale of hard-nosed prosecutors, avenging defense attorneys, and the case that was won or lost in the jury box. Though these fictional accounts are mostly inflated, their inspiration is usually grounded in some element of reality. A man or woman is charged for a crime, taken to court, the case is tried, and if guilt is determined, a verdict is handed down. True, the strength of the evidence ought to be the deciding factor, but all that is irrelevant if there is no one to ponder the facts and see that justice is done. This is why the Ministry of Justice is urging citizens to do their civic duty and attend court when summoned to serve as jurors.
It's very important that people, when asked to serve, are willing to do so, otherwise the system will grind to a halt.
Jamaica's jury system falls under the Court Management Service. It's a critical element of the country's justice system, and many who've been called to serve say they actually found it to be a liberating experience to take part in the execution of justice.
And in fact, those who do serve find it a very interesting and stimulating part of their life, that they have no regrets for having served. So I would encourage all Jamaicans who are asked to serve as jurors to do their best to serve.
A jury consists of ordinary citizens who are able to apply their common sense to the matter of determining the guilt or innocence of a fellow citizen accused of an offense. Under the guidance of the trial judge, jurors listen to the evidence presented and the case put forward by both sides. In private, they then deliberate as to whether they believe that the facts as they have heard them prove the guilt or innocence of the accused person. All serious offenses are tried by a Supreme Court judge sitting with a jury comprising 12 persons, and 7 for other criminal offenses. Some offenses tried by a jury are manslaughter, rape and carnal abuse, robbery, arson, treason, and murder. Who can serve on a jury? Well, the Jury Act sets out which persons are qualified and eligible to serve on a jury. Those between ages 18 and 70, persons whose names are on the current voters list, and persons with a taxpayer registration number TRN, although selecting persons from the TRN list is yet to be put into practice. Government, meanwhile, is considering increasing the current daily stipend paid to jurors, which now stands at $500.
And the stipend, which was last fixed in 1998, we're hoping we'll be able to increase that to make it a little easier for people to attend.
As for excuses from jury service, and no, you have work is not a sufficient reason. Under the Jury Act, someone may be excused from jury duty if he or she is suffering from some illness. He or she can satisfy the court that his or her attendance will cause undue financial loss or hardship to him or herself or his or her employer. Or he or she can show some other good reason that the judge or magistrate believes is sufficient to excuse him or her from jury duty. But if you're selected as a juror, do attend the sittings, as the penalty for non-attendance is grave. A person who has been duly summoned for jury duty and who does not appear, or who appears but refuses to serve, or who withdraws from jury duty without the permission of the court or without good cause, may be fined $2,000. As the government seeks to increase the daily stipend for jurors, steps are also being made to make the penalties more onerous for those who fail to attend court for jury service in response to a summons, to align the penalties with the levels being imposed by current legislation.
So that persons who get served with a jury summons have to think twice about not turning up.
In addition, a person who makes a false statement with the intention of evading jury duty or helping another person to evade jury duty commits an offense and may be liable on conviction to a fine of up to $4,000 or 6 months imprisonment. Jury service is important to the proper functioning of our legal and justice systems. When called to fulfill our civic duty by serving as jurors, we must all do so responsibly. Through jury service, we are able to do our part to protect and defend the rights of all Jamaicans in a very direct way.
And that's how we close the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow with another installment of your favorite magazine program. For information and updates on this and other JIS productions, you may visit our website, jis.gov.jm. You may also share your thoughts via email, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm, or tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Good evening.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.